Hello and welcome, all those who are joining. Thank you so much for joining. And this is Abhinav Gulecha, Mindful Living Coach. I teach mindfulness. I have a mindful community. Um, in this basically session, what I'll be doing is that I'll be taking up the Noble Eightfold Path, which was the teaching that was given by Gautam Buddha on removing suffering. Right. So when Gautam Buddha, just to give an overview, when Gautam Buddha got enlightened, the first thing that he realized was the Four Noble Truths, which said that there is suffering and there is a way out of suffering, and the Noble Eightfold Path is the way out of suffering. And the other thing was, I hope I'm audible. And the next thing what uh, Gautam Buddha got was the Noble Eightfold Path, and then he started teaching the Noble Eightfold Path to uh, to his students, which is the dharma, right? Which is the dharma, right? So this basically in this video it will be just my small attempt to so I am learning myself. It's like I'm like having 0.001% of the knowledge of Buddha's teachings, right? So I'm a pure learner, right? My only job is to just learn, at the same time help people get perspectives, right? So I'm also learning, just a disclaimer here. So what I'm learning for is that I belong to the plum village tradition, and I practice in the plum village tradition of Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. And this is the book, The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching. So I have been doing a lot of research on learning more about Buddhist wisdom and Buddha's teachings, because I resonate very much with what Gautam Buddha taught. And Gautam Buddha's one thing was like, what basically his search was, there was just this one question: how to get out of suffering, right? How to get freedom from suffering. And I resonate very much with that, with that question, having gone through suffering myself, a lot in my life, right? So this question has always been there: what is the reason behind the suffering, and what is my purpose in life, right? So these questions brought me into spirituality, right? So this is basically an attempt for me to learn this Noble Eightfold Path myself, and to help someone get a perspective. So this is deep teaching, right? This is some deep kind of learning. So this is not for everyone, and not everyone may resonate with this, but I will try my best to decode it and make it simple, right? So this session may take like a half an hour or something. So let's start. So this is the first noble truth, the first noble out of the first noble eightfold path. The first path what Gautam Buddha has taught is a right view, right? Now so this is what I have made even the notes, right, on this book, right? So this is the level of detailing that we need to go through as we learn something, go really deep, right? So the first view, so the first practice is Noble Eightfold Path is right view. In Hindi, it is called Samyak Drishti, right? Samyak Drishti, seeing things rightly, right? So what Thai says is that basically first we have to have a deep understanding about the Four Noble Truths, right? That is our suffering, the making of our suffering, the fact that our suffering can be transformed, and the path of transformation, which is the four noble truths. The Buddha said that the right view is to have a faith and confidence that there are people who have been able to transform, right? So we can also transform our suffering. Others have done it, so we can also do, right? uh, right view is basically knowing which of the four nutriments that we have ingested have brought about what we have. So see, there are a lot of times we see patterns in us, patterns of anxiety, patterns of hate, patterns of blame, and sometimes what we think is something small can triggers anger in us, or blame or resentment in us. What basically it happens is that there are seeds of blame, anger, and resentment deep inside us, and outside that one thing basically just triggers that seed in us, that other person is not, so as in the yesterday's session what also we discussed, the other person is not the reason. The reason is that there is a seed that is in us, the problem is with us, the only that seed got watered, right? So we right view is basically looking deeply into what all, first of all, what all nutriments that I ingested, like what I consumed, It can be like something, watching something TV, or there are four kinds of nutriments: edible food, sense impressions, consciousness, and intention, right? So these are four, consumptions. So what I consumed wrongly that caused that particular seed to get watered. Either I watched a violent movie, or either came into contact with a person who, you know brought that seed into me, right? So having that kind of an awareness, and how that awareness comes is by mindful living, by living more mindfully, by you know um by being more aware of what all is going inside me and outside me at the same time, right? Okay. Shariputra described right view as the ability to distinguish the wholesome roots from the unwholesome roots, right? So we have both the seeds. We have the wholesome seeds in us, and we have the unwholesome seeds in us. Right? So Thai gives the example that if you're a loyal person, it is because that you have the seed of loyalty in you. Right now, if you then start in a company of cruel people, or people who are not loyal, what basically you are doing is that you are watering the seed of betrayal in you. And if that seed over time becomes strong, then what will happen is that you will also start betraying people. This is how it works. So that is why it is said that do not go into self pity, or do not judge yourself. It is only, see, we are all essentially good people. It is only we have certain seeds which are the wrong seeds that are in us, and those wrong seeds are actually coming up, right? So just being aware that there may be a wrong seed, a seed of anger, a seed of hatred in me, or there may be a wrong seed in the other person. He might also be carrying that wrong seed from his many past lifetimes, or from his ancestors. So having that mindfulness will help us tide over the surface level things, surface level kind of behavioral problems that we see in people. So I have had this issue a lot, in my maybe few years down back, when I see is how people behave, whether they look and smile at me or not. It actually changed my whole perception towards them. So the more I am becoming mindful, I realize that everyone is going through a lot in their life, right? And like I am going through things, they are also going through. So not don't expect everyone to behave, or have the same maybe courtesy, or have the same manners, or have the same etiquette, as you have, right? Just let go and move on, right? Okay. Now Thai says that you can also see the type of people that you interact with. Some people you find them very good, and some people you find them very bad. Like your mother, you may be very close to your mother, and you might feel very good, even just by thought of your mother. But the just that thought of your father makes you angry. Why? Because the mother, what she's doing is that she's watering the seeds of love in you, right? And father maybe is kind of watering the seed of anger in you, right? So it's not the mother and the father that are the problem. It's basically your own seeds. So now, with more, as I become more mindful, I start becoming aware that it is my own seeds which get watered due to the things that I see in front of me, right? So I become more conscious about what are the kind of seeds that I have, and what are the seeds that that I want to water, which is called the concept of selective touching, right? When we become aware of the seeds that are in our storehouse, the store consciousness, then we will not be surprised by our own behavior or the behavior of others. Now, Thai says that the seed of Buddhahood, right, the capacity of being a Buddha is in all of us, right? Like we have the seeds of anger and hatred and all those, we also have the seeds of Buddhahood, the capacity that we all can become the Buddha, right? That is also within us. So, simple logic is that Thai says is, if you plant corn, corn will grow. If you plant wheat, wheat will grow. If you act in a wholesome way, if you water your wholesome seeds, how do you water your wholesome seeds? Is by being more mindful, living more mindfully, doing mindful breathing, doing mindful walking, eating mindfully. If you do like this, you will be watering the or practicing forgiveness, or practicing compassion, right? Or practicing self love. When you do this, you are watering the wholesome seeds of self love, compassion, and forgiveness. And this will make your life, this will, so the thing is, ideally, the thing is that, so I'm also an Akashic healer. And today only I was doing one reading of someone, and the guidance that I received from my masters was, the question of that person was that, what how will, that person has seen a lot of problem in her life, and her question was that, what will happen in my future. We all have this question, that how our future will happen. So the masters gave that guidance that, what you do today will make your future, right? So just focus on today. So carrying that logic further, just water the wholesome seeds today, regardless of however bad your life situation is, right? So whatever be your life situation, keep that aside. You can still, maybe in a pit, you may be like in a pit, you may be in a lot of financial problem or relationship problem, but you can still practice mindfulness. Bring attention to your breathing. Just it takes 1 minute, right? I'm like here right now. 3 breaths I did, bringing my attention to my belly, and did mindful breathing. It's as simple. Or you can do mindful walking, right? So when you do that, you become, you strengthen the wholesome seeds, and your life will accordingly start to change. Okay. Then there is the point is on perceptions, right? So we perceive something, like, so we perceive someone as something. So what we perceive are actually wrong perceptions, right? Why wrong perceptions? Because we don't, that is all our ideas of that person. We don't see that person as it is. So what Zen says is that the entire idea of Zen is seeing things as they are, not our idea, right? So it's like when you are peeling potatoes, then you only peel potatoes. You don't think about what someone else is doing or what someone said, right? Your only job is to be in that moment and peel the potatoes. So when we do this, it's a difficult practice. Yeah, it's a kind of a, but it is like a superlative practice, what I will say, you know or I've done a lot of healing practices, but something falls short. But this is a practice which is very, very direct, right? You are actually entire day, you spend observing your emotions and observing your feelings and journaling your feelings, right? So it's difficult. Some things are very in your face, which you don't want to accept, but you have to accept. You have to accept, because only by acceptance will you be able to move. But first, before accepting, we have to recognize that, okay, this is going on in me. This is that anger in me that is making my life miserable, making my relationships miserable, right? So if you have anger, after having anger, no one is happy, right? You have a bout of anger on your family member, but after that anger, when you are cooled down, you feel bad. Everyone feels bad. So then, once you start recognizing that these patterns are there in me, and these patterns I'm carrying from these my previous generations, then you start to heal. Then you start to heal, right? The patterns start dissolving. Okay. Thai says that the source of our perceptions lies in our how I perceive you is basis what lies in my store consciousness. If I am very angry person, that then if you come in contact with me, the slightest mistake of yours will make me angry. Now, if you go to the other person and the other person doesn't have such anger inside him, so your relationship with that person will be very cordial. So the issue is not in you, the issue is in me. The issue is my own anger that is there in my subconscious. That once I become more mindful, I will be able to, you know understand that this is where, my perceptions are, are creating my suffering. Whatever Thai says that our perceptions are made of our afflictions, craving, anger, ignorance, wrong views, and prejudice. All our afflictions give rise to our wrong perceptions. Very, very important thing. Thai says is whether we are happy or whether we suffer. It's all dependent upon how, what are our perceptions. You see people, they are always happy, right? Because they don't create wrong perceptions. They don't think too much about people. They don't make judgments. So I have spent most of my earlier life making lot of judgments, And then there were things that happened in my own life which made other people judge about me. And then I realized how what wrong how much wrong it is to judge people, because sometimes you are right, but then situation may be such that the other person may end up judging you, right? So again, that is that understanding that comes. Okay. Then there is this thing about uh, touching reality deeply, knowing what is going on inside and outside of ourselves, right? At every moment, knowing whatever is going on inside and outside of me, right? My own feelings and what is going on outside of me. Being in touch with that gives us the right view and liberates us from suffering, right? Then there is this good point about children, right? That, see, you cannot live the life for your children, right? You can only teach them the right view. Some, children, as they grow up, they have to make mistakes. You have to allow them to make mistakes. You can just point them in the direction that, see, you do this, this will lead to this. You do this, this will lead to this. But beyond that, this you can also, or you can like be a coach. You can be a coach to your kids. You cannot live the life for your kids. They will make their mistakes and they will learn from their mistakes. uh, we can only point to the correct direction. Thai says that even the most brilliant teacher can also not kind of transmit the right view. It cannot be transmitted. The teacher can show the way, right? A teacher can help us identify the seed of right view that is already in our garden and helps us to have confidence to practice. So what a teacher can do, and that teacher can only help give us confidence, give us a safe environment, give us some support so that we can practice our right view, right? So, and this is just, I'm like reflecting as a coach, as a mindful living coach and as a teacher, is that I can create the circumstance and the environment for the other person. I can create kind of an accountability for the other person to go and practice his meditation, practice mindful walking, teach him how to do mindful walking, mindful, eating. But what I cannot do is that I cannot, I cannot help him see what is his right view, right? That person has to do for himself, and that is where the coaches have to kind of, there is only that much you can do. Thai says the instrument for watering the wholesome seeds is mindful living, right? Mindful living, uh, mindful breathing, mindful walking, living each moment of our day in mindfulness. Now, this is easier said than done. And what happens is that you fail more than you win, right? There is this quote, there is this line in this movie, Wake Up Sid. It's a brilliant movie. I don't know if you've watched this movie, one of my favorite movies, right? Whenever, I'm stressed or I'm tired, um, I think once in 10 days, so I watched that movie, right? It's a beautiful movie where there was this fat girl, and who said to Ranbir, Ranbir was just saying that you don't know what problems I am going through. And that fat girl said that you don't know what problem I am going through. Every day I go on a diet, and just I want to be, slim. And then I end up having loads of calories, and every day I lose. And I think, even in mindfulness, that is our journey. So we make our attempts to live mindfully, but our seeds are strong. So we fail, but next day we have to again start. So maybe some of you are practicing mindfulness will be able to resonate with me, that it is a tough journey. But then we are tough people, I will say, right? We are tough people to have chosen this path. Okay. Then there was this incident. What Thai says is that there was a reporter that questioned Thai, uh, uh, that are you from North Vietnam or South Vietnam, right? So what happened was that, if you are from North Vietnam, you are treated like a pro communist, and if you are from South Vietnam, you are treated as a pro American. This was the times of the Vietnam War. So Thai answered that I'm from the center, right? Because Thai said that I wanted to help him let go of his notions and encounter the reality that I was right in front of him. That means he wanted the reporter not to see his idea of Thai. He wanted to encounter the Thai that is right now in front of him. Right? So he said, I am from the center. Right? There was another Zen story that Thai says is that there were two Zen monks. One Zen monk was saw a beautiful goose flew by, and he wanted to share the joy with his elder brother who was doing something else. So by the time that elder brother just came, that goose had flown away. So he said, "What were you trying to show me?" He said, "Nothing," because that experience of that goose flying away, it cannot be conveyed by words. So a lot of things, you realize that you have to experience that thing. So that's what a teacher cannot experience that thing for you. He can only teach you that when you experience that thing, how you should deal with it. If there is this saying that if you want to touch the reality, you have to turn around. That means you have to, you have to change the way you see the world, right? If you want to change your reality, there was another Zen story. I think some Siddharth, Mr. Siddharth, he's also a mindfulness coach. He shared it on the LinkedIn. Very beautiful thing he shared about. He also shared a Zen story, a different Zen story on his YouTube, and he shared this as a LinkedIn post. I liked that post also, um, where he said that how we look, how we perceive the world, that it becomes our reality. So today, if you want to change your reality, just start start being in gratitude for whatever you have, right? Just start, and you'll change your reality, right? So I know it's simple things. It's very, very simple. It's like a kind of a cliche. Everybody says this, but nobody follows it. Very, very few people follow it, and then they see the results, right? What difference it makes in my life is, so I am not saying that I have, like, I am on the other shore or something. I am also in the same boat as you. But the very fact that I bring this to you, knowledge to you, I know that tape runs keeps running in my head. So today I'm discussing this with you, and tomorrow when I'm in my difficult time of the day, this tape starts running in my head that Abhinav, live life in gratitude, right? Live this moment in gratitude, and that's the actually the joy of becoming a teacher or a coach. If you want to learn something deeply, teach, right? And this is actually very profound and is very true, right? Yes, yes, yes. Facebook user, hi. Gratitude is a big shift. I don't know if others can see what she is or he has written is beautiful. Gratitude has made a huge change in my life also. Absolutely. Just be grateful. Just what simple practice, what you can do is just write 2 pages. I am today so grateful about this. So not necessarily something that you have already in your life. Whatever you want also in your life, just write that you've already received it, and you are so grateful. Okay, hi Palak. Hi, thank you for joining. Sorry, I do cannot see the name, so it just comes as I'm streaming using Restream app, so it just comes Facebook user. So sorry for that. Yes, so just like 2 pages, write every day. Whatever you want, also you just write that I'm so grateful to the universe that I've already received it, and this actually sets the intentions for the day. And slowly and magically, what happens is the more whatever I have inside of me, it is like the thought currents that start spreading out from me, and then I meet those people. I get that kind of knowledge, I get those kind of books which kind of create that change. So a very good thing that my business mentor teaches is that 80% of the work is your this work inside work that you have to do, right? If you're in a business, you're in an you're an entrepreneur. Otherwise what we do is like a headless chicken. We just keep running around doing this. 80% work has to be done here, as regards what you want, what are your goals. You may be a professional, you may be in a job, but be very clear on your vision, what you want to be. Maybe today you cannot afford to leave your job, right? And I have been in the similar position, right? uh, and I have criticized myself. What I've done is that I have, in those years where I was not feeling satisfied in my job, I have gone into that passive aggressive behavior, right? That ultimately harmed me only, right? And then I could have done is that I could have done gratitude practice. I could have done mindfulness practice. But at that time I did not have that knowledge, right? I was not aware of all these things, right? So maybe when the times are difficult, still you can do mindfulness, still you can practice gratitude, right? So That will help you come out of that cycle, right? Okay, sorry. Yes, thank you to all the things. Gratitude has been a habit now. I say thank you to all the things I have at my home and also people around me. Thank you comes out of the habit. And actually, if I'm just I'll just put this as a kind of a highlighted comment. Thank you is such a beautiful practice. Saying thank you to everything can make a massive shift. Like what in Ho'oponopono Dr. Hewland says, not necessarily you say the all for four words, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I thank you. Only and only thank you also if you say to everything, to the roads, to the car, to your table, to your office table, to your work, to your food, everything, thank you. That brings the shift in you. That changes things inside, and things will change outside very shortly. Okay. 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 Then our practice, Thais is again the no. Thank you so much, Palak. You are very very kind. Thank you. Thank you. I have just contributed 0.001%. Right. It's all you're doing. Thank you so much. Okay. uh, to practice is to go beyond ideas. So just what Thai says, sorry, this is just taking 10 minutes more, but I'm enjoying this discussion, right? So another thing, what one of my other mentors, Vijay Gautam says, he's into podcasting and he teaches podcasting, and he says that just do a session just for yourself, even if nobody turns up, even if nobody is listening. You do it just for yourself. So I'm really enjoying what I'm maybe saying, and I'm reflecting on my life. So uh, so there's what Thai says is that if you come to Plum Village is the community in France. uh, if you come to Plum Village only for a day, you will get only an idea of what Plum Village is, right? You will just get a better idea from someone who just knows about Plum Village. So I personally haven't visited Plum Village. So I my idea is like this: a person who visits. Hello Vikas, thank you for joining, happy to see you. Thank you for joining here, right? Happy to be company of all you people. Okay, right. So if you have not visited Plum Village, you'll not have any idea. If you have visited, you'll have just a better idea, but still it will be an idea. So what our practice is to continuously start letting go of ideas, right? And what my little knowledge says is that I can start only getting rid of ideas is that when I am in that moment with that particular thing. So if I'm walking, uh, I'm just with my walking, and if I see a tree or a flower, I just see that tree or a flower. So practice with small things. As your practice grows, uh, then you'll be able to practice on the deeper things, like your difficult feelings or your trauma, or those things, or someone difficult in your life. We always, all of us have people in our life who push our buttons, right? Who just make us angry at the so we will be able to let actually see what is in me, what is in me that is making this person push my buttons. Otherwise, why? Otherwise, there is one person that pushes your buttons. Someone in the family, some mama, chacha, fufa, someone is there, you know uh, and then there is someone else also who doesn't do that. So with practice of mindfulness, I will be able to find out what is in me, which seed is it in me that is making that person trigger me, right? So I'm also on my journey in this, observing more and more. The more you deepen your practice, the more things become clear, right? For example, the tendency of anger that I've kind of healed to a lot of extent in this life. I could find that the same anger was there in my father, and I've also shared in my kind of workshops and everything. The way I interact sometimes with my daughter, I want to push my daughter to be better or something. I see that the same thing was, the tendency was in my father, right? And the more I become, I realize, and he was very good, and I'm also good. I'm also good as a father. But then I've taken that tendency, and that makes me miserable. So if I sometimes become angry, then that guilt starts kicking in. And the more I become aware that this is flowing from there, and this is my opportunity to heal it, otherwise it will get passed on to my further generations. The recognition of that soothes me, calms me, right? That Abhinav, you are on track, right? It will take time. Yesterday, I think the day before, I was interacting with someone, a lady who was facing some issue and she was not able to heal, and she continued, she got the akashic healing done and all those things. And in the reading also, she got the same message, that that particular issue she will have to heal, it will take time. So again, the same lesson is patience. Patience. Some things will take time, some things you have to give time. So I always say that time doesn't heal, right? But some things you have to, allow time. Keep at it. Recognize and be aware. Not everything, you can just heal like this. It doesn't happen. There is no like instant quick fixes, like recipes, like just do, and just it gets healed. So a lot of people sell kind of healing like this, but some things don't get healed like this. And some things also get healed when the time comes, right? I've seen people who have like faced years of problems, and there was this time, that one time, where they just something, they some knowledge they got, or some healing that they got from someone, from a psychic or a healer, and they were able to heal it. But why did they find that healer? Or that, because that time for healing had come, right? So those dynamics are also there. Okay. So Thai says that our practice is to go beyond ideas so that we can arrive at the suchness of things. So basically, every moment and every day is actually our practice, right? So don't think that mindful living or mindfulness practice is something which is outside of your normal day, outside of your normal work, right? So what we did, what our way is that I will live my life in this 24 hours I live, and then out of the 24 hours I will do 1 hour of meditation, and that 1 hour of meditation should give me a kind of ROI, return on investment, in terms of XYZ. That is why. So what it happens is that it is my mind creating an idea that my practice should give me a kind of a return. So this practice is wrong. This is very nicely touched upon by Shunryu Suzuki in his book Zen Mind, Beginner Mind, that we have to just go idealist. We have to just live life. Don't think about when I will be able to heal a particular problem, right? Just live in this moment and make it your practice without any gaining ideas. Without any idea to gain something, we have to live our life, right? So this is again a bit deep thing, but I hope it resonates with some people. Okay. Again, there's just this difference, that what Thai explains, that when you are sitting in meditation and you see a bowl of tomato soup, right? You see a bowl of tomato soup in your mind's eye. You think that it is wrong practice. Such thoughts should not come in my meditation. That is wrong. Expecting that the such thing should not come in my meditation, that is wrong. But in mindfulness, what the right practice is, that you say, I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out, and I'm thinking about tomato soup, right? Whatever right now is happening, with full love and without any judgment, I'm just observing it. That is the right practice. Now that practice you can do, either you can keeping your eyes closed and sitting in your on a meditation mat, or you can be walking, or you can be in a metro, right? Okay. So so one more thing, what Thai says is that actually at the end there are actually no right views. Even that right view concept is wrong. There are actually, ultimate reality is no views, right? We see that all views are wrong views. No view can ever be the truth. Buddhism is not a collection of views. Buddhism is a practice to help us eliminate wrong views. So we eliminate all the wrong views. It's a practice to identify all our views and eliminate them, right? The quality of our views can always be improved. From the but from the viewpoint of the ultimate reality, right view is the absence of all views. It is just to see things as they are, right? So we are all very far away from that ultimate kind of a reality, but we can all make our slow progress during the day. Start seeing things with full mindfulness, right? Your thoughts, your feelings, outside, seeing outside. Okay, then it says that when we begin, the seeds of right view, the seeds of Buddhahood are in us, but they are obscured by many layers of ignorance, sorrow, and disappointment. Right? Okay, okay, okay. Finally, to conclude, what Thai says is that the eight practices of the Noble Eightfold Path. So there are eight paths, right? So that eight paths are actually kind of a. I will just show. It is given like this. I don't know if someone can see. I will bring it more closer to the screen, right? So this is basically how. Okay, sorry. It is like this. No, so these are the eight uh, kind of paths, and all these paths are interlinked, right? Can you see the linkages? Right, every path is interlinked. So what Thai is trying to say is that you practice one thing and all the other things will also. So if you start practicing right view, if you start practicing looking things in the right way, other things automatically you'll practice right mindfulness, automatically you'll practice right speech, automatically you'll practice right thinking. So all things, other things will also start happening, right? So they're all interconnected. Okay, so this is the part one. This is the path one of the Noble Eightfold Path. So I hope this was useful, and do read this book. If you want to read, if you resonate with the teachings of the Buddha, this is the book, the most kind of concise book, and lot of, it's like a power pack book actually. All the Buddha's teachings, not everything. There are a lot of other sutras. If you really want to read the sutras, then there is another commentary by Thai, Thich Nhat Hanh, Awakening of the Heart, which contains a full kind of a commentary on the various Buddhist sutras, Anapansati Sutra, Diamond Sutra, Lotus Sutra. All those sutras, the commentaries are there. That is like a bit advanced. I will try to cover that also. But all the basic things, the Four Noble Truths, the Noble Eightfold Path, five spiritual powers, six paramitas, all those things are covered in this book in a very, very concise way, right? So thank you so much for joining. If you have anything to share or any comments, please do put, and I will reply back to those comments. Um, that's it. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good evening and good night. Bye. Thank you so much. Tomorrow I'll be taking up the other kind of the second of the Noble Eightfold Path. Thank you so much. Bye.